It's an important thing when you put on that uniform. We need to trust the police, work with the police, believe in the police. And I want more ethnic minorities particularly to join the police. But that means if someone dies as a result of a police bullet, it must be properly investigated independently. And we need to be sure that if a police officer is at fault, then they will feel the hard pressure of the law like anybody else.
Another controversial issue is the stop and search regime and the challenging relationship between police and many young people.
Why is he being arrested?
Why are you taking this person away?
Why is he being arrested?
It worries me that we're seeing the police service moving towards a police force that don't appear to recognise and value the importance of working together with people in the community.
There's a lot of animosity between young people and police. I think it's people who hold a certain level of power over you walking the streets and you being at the mercy of them.
This stuff with the police ain't just happening now. Riots ain't just happening now. This ain't just happening. This happens around the planet with police, you get what I'm saying? But in London, there is definitely a problem with the police and how they're talking to young children.
Stop and searching is quite humiliating. I've got two brothers who are younger than me and they would get stopped and searched constantly. They'd always be getting put in police cells for absolutely ridiculously minor things, head-butted in the face. And it's just like, you feel angry against that somebody's holding power of you. It's like having a mean parent.
I've been standing at the end of my road waiting to get picked up by one of my friends, and I've been stopped and searched.
Still stereotyping?
Yeah, I'm just standing there. And obviously, even when I've tried to explain myself, I've been still spoke to like, I don't know, like a piece of shit on my trainer, to be honest. If you get stop and search, you couldn't even talk to a police officer on a level because he wouldn't talk to you on a level. So there you go, already there, you're out of it. Already, like you're out of it. You can't even have a one-on-one conversation with a police officer and feel easy. You're straight away, you're just like, you know what, hurry up, do what you gotta do and leave me alone, innit? Go on, hurry up. So I just stand there, I'm just like this.
I have a child to support now, come on, and yet I'm still getting harassed by the police.
When I speak to different young people, it's clear to me that some young people are routinely and constantly stopped. If you've been in trouble with the police once or twice before, I think you get constantly stopped. If, frankly, if you're black and wearing a hoodie and walking down Tottenham High Road or Peckham High Road, you might get stopped. But I'm not clear that all young people are stopped because it depends on your profile, and that's the difficulty. But then we have to ask ourselves, who on the whole is finding themselves caught up with knife crime? So this is not straightforward. This is very, very difficult.
I'm not about to change the way I look on my clothing for you to not stop and search me. So really, and that's how everyone thinks, like, oh, if I come out in a shirt, I'll look alright. It's like, why should you have to think that? Why should you have to dress in a decent shirt for you to not get stopped by the police?
They're not even thinking straight. You close all the youth clubs. They're not going to stay in the house, they're going to walk around. But if they get caught walking around and there's more about 3 or 4, you know, your son, I've got a son, he's got loads of mates, you know, so they can't all walk around together, because if they walk all around together, the police will pull them because they're seen as, well, they could be a gang. They're not a gang. Do you know what I mean?
We can't get away from the fact that stop and search, although it's a blunt instrument, it's one that's working. It's one that the police leads in its armory. What the problem is incivility. How does the police behave? You can't grab a young person, sling them up against the wall, call them sonny and all of that. That doesn't work. That creates a problem.
We spend a lot of time and effort in training our staff, in educating them, in recruiting them from communities in London so that they can be representative. That relationship, though, is, I think it's always going to be a challenge, because, you know, nobody wants to be stopped going about their business. Nobody wants to be told they've done something wrong. But on occasion, the police have to do that role.
I do think a lot of young people, especially from our community, the black community, have got a problem where they will never engage with the police. You know, they seem to have this hatred of the police. And I think that's really is stupid. You know, it may seem offensive what I'm saying, but I think it's really stupid. You cannot change the situation unless you become engaged.
I guess it's a challenge because, you know, a lot of our officers, day in, day out, they deal with the very worst aspects of society. And of course they do become a bit cynical. I think as a police leader, my challenge is to keep them upbeat, positive, professional, when all they're dealing with, all of their professional life is nasty incidents of one degree or another. We have millions of interactions with communities in a year, and most of the time we'll get that right. It's where we get it wrong that we have to look at why that went wrong, deal with it appropriately, and learn lessons from it.
Don't just see me with my NY hat and my hood outside my block. I think you can stop and search me anytime, no, because I work, pay tax, vote, and do a lot of it. And I'm not the only one as well. There's a lot of other guys like me.
There are no doubts that the recession and the cuts have had some kind of effect on the majority of people in our society. But exactly what kind of effect is it having on the public? And how do people across England feel right now?
I think we do live in a broken society, and I think politicians have broken it.
What the kids are saying nowadays is there's no justice, there's just us. So help us to be able to help ourselves if you can't do the job that you're elected to do, because government, they have a responsibility for improving areas like this. But what they do, because they know in areas like this people are less inclined to vote and such, nobody does anything for them.
I mean, there are some pretty pertinent statistics which I think the government was willfully ignoring in the aftermath of the riots, and it's things like the fact that they cut 75% of the youth services budget nationwide. That led to, in Tottenham specifically, 8 out of 13 youth centres closing in the borough, which is not insignificant. That's, you know, that's a massive kind of depletion of resources.
Everybody that worked here had this terrible sinking feeling, because actually everybody knew this was going to happen. This was the toughest summer with the least provision for young people to keep them busy and active and engaged.
I mean, I think with all of the cuts, I mean, obviously the economic climate is more challenging than any we've ever seen before. And central government has made cuts to all local authority funding, but local authorities chose where they placed their cuts. And I think it was incredibly short-sighted and actually unnecessary to make 75% cuts in Haringey youth services.
I think it's very difficult when we talk about cuts. Obviously, we've lived beyond our means as a society, without a doubt. You know, when people borrow money, which is more than their salary, and the banks encourage that and all of that sort of stuff.
I think you've cut them too much. Should have cut them less. And we're going through more next year, and it'd be worse than the Russians in the war. That's the opinion of an old lady.